Here we are live once again. Hey man, I like these lunchtime chats, Pete.
I like them too. It's a lot of fun. It's hard to make a schedule work in the way that we do the show because it's so open with, I want to make it as easy on the person joining us as possible. So,
Right.
it's hard to say every time at lunchtime. And luckily with COVID, there's less people at work. So there's a little more flexibility, but
Well, we
it is
have
nice.
the old habit of making our guests feel at ease by saying, "I'll come to your house. We'll do it at your convenience." And then to switch up to say, "Hey, we go live at noon," is a little different. It's a little more
Yeah.
stringent, and so maybe we need an adjustment in tone that 60 Minutes already has.
Right.
But who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
Our guest today is scheduled to be Jamie Kennedy. Now, if you are of some age near Pete and mine, then you remember Jamie Kennedy from a few things. The Jamie Kennedy Experience. Remember that show?
Sure.
That
Yeah.
show was terrific, man. The Scream movies. He was in
Yeah.
those. He was in The Ghost Whisperer.
Yeah. He's been in a bunch of things.
Yeah, and actually, Wall was on The Ghost Whisperer. I think he dated Jennifer Love Hewitt or something. I don't know. I could have that all wrong. That's not something that I wrote down from his bio. I'm just going from memory. He's dated some hot chicks. I don't remember The Ghost Whisperer, and I feel bad about that because Jay was on that show. Do you have any recollection of that show at all?
Honestly, I don't. I don't know what era it was on. I do remember hearing of it, but also I was likely in the desert or something.
I'll say early
I missed
90s. Yeah. So
early 90s, that far back? Huh.
Maybe not. Maybe by early, what I mean is early 94.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be right in this time frame when I left. So, yeah.
Also, I could have the year entirely wrong. But the point of this all is to say that Jamie Kennedy was a hilarious dude, continues to be a hilarious dude. But what was hilarious about his whole thing was he almost, I don't want to say he duped Hollywood, but part of his experiment was to experiment on how far he could get duping Hollywood. He didn't hire an agent. He represented himself, and he realized that he wasn't getting very far doing that. So he made up an agent's persona and named his agent Marty Power, and was represented by Marty Power, a personality he fabricated, and gave him his own phone number and his own, essentially voice, for lack of a better thing to call it. It was an identity, but it was him. And he got pretty far. I mean, he starred in movies. He had a TV show. He appeared in several TV shows. As an actor, was in many things, about 37,000 things. I don't know, maybe 100 things. But he got pretty far.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the do-it-yourself attitude that a lot of folks have. You don't have to pay all those people. It is a service that you can take on. You can hire a manager. You can hire an agent. You can go to a company that takes your stuff to market, or you can do those things yourself or within your own tight circle of people. It does take like once you've established yourself, there's an author from the Marines who does like doomsday kind of books, like post-apocalyptic books. His last name is Hopf. He's been on the show. Yeah. He's like, I actually don't need this book company to do this. I can self-publish. I've got an audience. They already buy my books. What am I paying you guys for? Right. And so
presumably to put him in the places where other people will buy his books, but that was perhaps not as effective for him. Hey, I got to take a pause for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so I will fill in now as John does his pause thing. He's actually working on getting a window replaced on his car, so he's got he's working on an errand. So I'm going to hold the show down. Hey, everybody, it's Pete A. Turner, executive producer and host of your Break It Down show. We're waiting on Jamie Kennedy to show up, and looking forward to having him on the show. I see that Brett Allen is here, and yes, right, Jamie Kennedy does rock. I don't want to use any of my Jamie Kennedy preparation and memories because there's a lot of good things in there. So I'm gonna hold off on talking about that. But one of the things I will prompt, because it's coming up soon, July 15th is the proposed and most likely date. And I guess I have to see if I can get all the work done. But the Prison Chronicles is going to debut on July 15th, and we're going to push out And then there's Robin. Hey, Robin. It's Robin's birthday. Happy birthday, Robin. You are so awesome, good looking, fancy lady, friend of mine since, well, a long time, decades. And I always enjoy our time together. So on July 15th, the Prison Chronicles comes out, and then what the Prison Chronicles is we take a look at the condition of incarcerated people. And it turns out that most everybody, including Murder One folks, get out at some point. And so since that's true, what condition do we want these people to be in once they get out of prison? One of the subjects of the show is a guy named Richard Bronson, who was one of the Wolf of Wall Street money brokers, and he now runs a company called 70 Million Jobs, and they are explicitly trying to, they're like to be unfair to them and characterize them over simply, they are a headhunting firm for people that have been incarcerated to try to get them over the hump of like, who's going to hire me? I have this record. And it's like, well, it turns out, these companies, and I'm just won't mention any names, but major brands, Fortune 500 companies are like, yeah, let's get these people to work, because it turns out that the formerly incarcerated, when they get out, if they have a good job lined up, they don't go back to jail. So we look at these conditions, what it was like before, during, and after prison for these folks, and some of these people have committed, murder. So it's an intense deep dive into what prison is like for someone as they, make their way to it, through it, and out of it. And it's just incredible. We just on Monday put out a show, or maybe it was Tuesday, put out a show with a guy named Matt Ray, who did 24 years for shooting two people, murdering one of them. And he talks about his path, and it's jaw dropping. And I think it's really crazy is none of these people really know each other. There's two that are connected as friends, but they all tell the same story in a variety of different ways through their experiences. And so I know you're going to love that. So one of the subjects is a guy named Honoré Vachon. And if you look in our, if you go to breakitdownshow.com, you can type in, you can go to the guest page and hit Vachon V, and you'll see the Honoré Vachon episode. John did that. It's fantastic. That's like supporting stuff. There's a supporting episode for a guy named Ron Self, who's a Marine who, again, these people, when you hear their stories, you're like, they're tragedies. And I can't wait to let you guys hear all of it. Tony Alvarado helped me write everything. I did all the interviews. He took them and exploded them and put them back into this coherent story. It's going to be 8 episodes. Plus there's a number of supporting episodes, like I said, with Ron and Honoré Vachon. That John, you did a great job in that episode. Shaka Senghor. These people are great. We've had Richard Bronson on twice. These guys are all people we featured. The folks from Advanced Peace, which is Devone Bogan, and Mr. Houston. He's also a former inmate who had a life sentence, and if he got out, had a job lined up. So July 15th, Prison Chronicles, that'll come out, and it looks like we're getting close to having Jamie here. Let me bring him into studio.
Yep. Jamie,
what's up, man?
What's happening?
Should I be more dressed up?
No, I think you should be more dressed down. I think we're supposed to be skins.
Oh, okay.
Right. It's getting freaky in here.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we did an intro for you, and we told everybody all about you. And what we didn't say is that you have a special coming up called Stoopid Smart. So I want to tell our listeners that Jamie Kennedy is with us. He is, as he describes, Stoopid Smart. Special's great, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me. I appreciate you watching it and liking it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's on Tubi. So if you guys go to Tubi, TUBITV.com. I was just watching it a second ago, just freshening up my thing. Hey, I have a basic question to get us going here, Jamie. Why the back bowling alley? Is that part of the joke?
You know what? It's one of the best comedy clubs in the country, and I just love the guy who runs it. He's a great guy, and it was just a good vibe, It's in Huntington Beach, California, and I produced it along with my friend, so we didn't want to spend too much, and it's a great club. You'll see, but they do have a bowling alley there.
It is. It's a cool setting and intimate crowd, seating and everything. Where are you working stuff out? Do you work out there a lot? I
work out all over. I work out the Improv, the Factory in LA, the Comedy Store, Flappers, a lot of LA places. Then I'm on the road, Tampa, Dallas Improv, a lot of improvs. Where are you guys at?
I'm in the Bay Area, and Pete's down there in Orange County.
Yeah. So I do Irvine and Brea a lot, and then I also do Cobb's a lot. So yeah, I mean, I work all over in the Bay.
Okay.
Here's go ahead, John.
No, I was going to say, here's what I really liked about the special, and I think that everybody who's old enough to have kind of followed you along throughout your career is going to see that your stuff is really like right in the sweet spot of what's funny to all of us. I mean, your sense of humor changes as you get older and as you grow up and as you face different responsibilities and stuff. And you're just as cynical as you always have been and just as funny as you always have been, but it seems a little more seasoned. How do you feel?
I feel that, sorry, man, I'm trying to get you a good spot here.
That's all right.
All my personal shit's in the background. So I have like 6 of these things, but it's like, you got to pick the right place, right? I mean, It's crazy. Yeah. I'm so sorry to anybody watching right now, because we're used to doing this as radio, but since the pandemic, all these Zooms have happened. Yeah. And so everybody wants to Zoom now. So you feel so comfortable. The next thing you know, you roll right out of bed. So I apologize. I was working till 5 a.m.
Working as a Jedi, evidently.
I know, dude. I know. I got this new bathrobe for my birthday, and it's so comfy. I feel like what you said is like, I just try to be funny. Like I try to. I just turned 50. But I feel like I'm like 16, I feel like I'm a 16-year-old with a house. I grew up in the 80s, started making my mark in the 90s, went pretty deep into the 2000s and the last decade, did more, independent stuff. And I feel like, we're probably around the same age. And I just feel that
we're almost exactly the same age, by the way. John was born end of November, 69. I was born middle of January, 70. And then you were born end of March. So we're all crazy. The same age.
We're all the same age. And it's like, I like you're saying, like I like to do jokes and be cynical, but, fun. I poke fun at myself. And, my first job is to be funny. That's why it's called Stoopid Smart, because it's like sometimes people say like I'm stupid, like they think I'm like characters are stupid, but then I have like the smart points, and I think the special gets smarter as you watch it. But the main thing is it's supposed to be funny. So yeah, I would agree that I'm like you. I don't take too many things seriously in the special. That's what comedy's supposed to be, escapism.
Yeah.
Man, we need some more of that escapism right now. Folks is mad as hell at each other. We're just tearing ourselves apart, and we can't get out to the comedy clubs.
Yeah, I had this talk with people. It's like, you want to have escapism, a healthy amount, but right now it's like we kind of don't want to, because we have these problems. We have a lot of problems in our world, in our country, of racial injustice and stuff. So I will be blunt with you. The last few weeks have been a little weird promoting a special during all this, but it seems like people do want to have a tiny break sometimes from the news and stuff. But I mean, look, it's a delicate balance, right? I mean, we got to fix these issues in our world, but sometimes, people just want to do escape. So, that's where we're at right now. But, it is people do say they need comedy now a lot.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. I think now more than ever. When did you shoot this thing? You must have come in right under the wire.
I shot it about a year ago. Then we took it around to the usual suspects, and then I just was like, "It's taking too long," Like, yeah. I was like, Netflix has unlimited bandwidth. Like, what do you need? What do you need to do? It's just like put it up. And so and they were kind of hemming and hawing. And Amazon is cool, but like you can get buried. And Tubi has a lot of my older specials, and they have a lot of stuff, and I love them. They're like Netflix with commercials, and they were just like, let's do it. And I was like, this is awesome. So everything now is through a different app. You go start with Tubi, you can go to Crackle, you can go to Zoom, you go to Voodoo, so people can get you. So we shot about a year ago, and now, and in fact, I did about 92 minutes, cut it down to 60. I probably have enough for almost another special. So the minute I can shoot one. I would do that, and then I would have to like figure out what's funny again.
You can play in my backyard. I'll give you a discounted rate. We got some wine barrels and some chairs and shit. You know,
He's close by.
People are going to start touring drive-ins. I'm hearing, so I think that's a good idea.
Oh, that is a good idea, actually.
I'm not dying to go out right now, and like, it'd be interesting to see the next 2 weeks because the cases they're saying could rise. And I don't know. I mean, LA has been some peaceful protesting, and I've seen a lot of masks. And I was at that one on Hollywood on Sunday, but I was definitely over here. But like, there was definitely people were like, "Yo," right in each other's grill. Like, wow. So we'll see.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting with the as comedy ebbs and flows, as you know, in terms of people going to the club. I mean, LA is great. It's the major leagues. People always go, but playing those smaller rooms like in Kansas City, that kind of thing, it's hard to build up an audience. But now you can build an audience on a provider, like again, at Hulu, Crackle, fill in the blank, all kinds of places. What is it that makes, obviously Dave Chappelle shows up, Netflix is going to do something different. But for you headliners that are, international headliners, like Jay Moore is a really good friend of the show. He's like our big brother, but they won't give him the time of day. What is it that makes the doors shut for some? You guys are all fantastic. Why wouldn't they just be like comedy special all the time?
It's a great question. And Jay's kind of like my big brother too. It's like, he was always like the class ahead of me in Hollywood, and I'd end up working with the same people or like the same show. And like, he kind of raised me, whether he knows it or not. In fact, my buddy just wrote a book, and Jay has the top back quote, and I have the bottom back quote. So, I would feel like, dude, it's if you want to go deep into it, it's pretty simple. It's like Hollywood is like this. It gets like people pick. Right. And they go, oh, we like so-and-so and we like so-and-so. Right. And then it's like, you get hot and then like, oh, you fall out of favor. Right. And then tech comes along and completely disrupts it. Right. And so tech says, this is what we're going to do. And Hollywood, of course, loves money. And they're like, ooh, there's a lot of money here. So let's get tech. So tech comes in. Right.
Yeah.
Problem is and the problem with tech is one problem. And you're going to hate to hear this. Tech then hires old Hollywood. So you can't disrupt the system, right? I hope they hear this because tech is like, ooh, I want to be in Hollywood. And Hollywood's like, ooh, I want tech's money. And the problem is tech is winning, okay? They just hire the same people. So it fucks it up again. Like Jay Moore is an international name. Everyone knows Jay. He's hilarious. He's so talented, and he's got a legacy for 25 years. Yes, he should have a special. And if they don't want to make it, that's totally fine. He'll make his own and just put it on the platform. But there's no reason not to because there's something for everybody. Yeah. Everybody can build their own. So it is annoying, but the good thing is that now there are so many places that you can just do it your own. So I did this on my own for very cheap. I've made money on my last two specials and this one completely independently, and I will make money. I've been making money with Tubi with other stuff. So now it's just about building your audience, and then you build your audience, and then then Hollywood comes. But at that point, it's like, where were you when I needed a hug?
I don't need you anymore, right? Yeah, they always want the person that's got a huge. I mean, we're in the same kind of boat. Like we put out 5 shows a week. We get all kinds of great guests like you, and Gabby Reese is going to be on tomorrow. And then by the time they discover us, right? Because I'll go to like say Wondery, who's big in the podcast world, and I'll knock on the door. Hey, you say you want fresh content? We got tons of it. We're doing all kinds of things. No response. And so by the time that we earn the audience with those guys, it's going to be like, hey, we already figured it out. Thanks.
Yeah. Not only that, by then it's going to cost you. You should have got us early.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing about the new world is that data will drive it. So if you have the numbers, you could show your numbers, no one can deny it. But again, you can do it on your own. You can start your own right here. You got your own set up there. And that's where I'm thinking. I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm just been doing this for so long. I don't need to go out with my hand anymore and hope to get a job. I won't do it.
Right. Yeah.
It's interesting to hear your musings about Hollywood, because I almost feel like your career, when you launched and you hit it, and you hit it deep into the gap, pretty early in your career, but
Mhm.
you sort of were testing the waters and figuring out what Hollywood would, what you could get away with. Is that true? Was that on purpose? I mean, the whole Marty Powers thing and all of that. Were you fucking with
Yeah, I mean,
Hollywood?
I was a telemarketer. Is this annoying you? I'm holding this because I just the best light.
You're fine, man. You're good.
Yeah, I was a telemarketer, and I did a lot of jobs, and I just passed it the other day on La Brea Boulevard next to the strip club. There was a really low rent telemarketing next to the Seventh Veil, and everybody was in there, struggling musicians, actors, a lot of hair metal guys, and I got really good at selling office toner. You know what that is? It's
Yeah.
like the copy ink. It's the most unsexiest product of all time. And I'm like,
You were good at it. You had a talent.
Yeah, and I got really good at it. So then I read a book called Think and Grow Rich.
Napoleon Hill.
Yeah. And he was like, you have to treat yourself as a product. Never take no for an answer. Take 3 rejections. Simple rules of, how many times can you say no before you just move on? Treat everything as a number. Don't get emotionally invested. And that's what I did. And I said, what? Oh, it's a mandatory book. Everyone should read it because it's a life. I have to reread it. And
yeah, it was written in like 1922 or something.
Yeah, 1922. And it's basically like, the greatest salesman in the world. There's like 3 of them. Like, I do love sales, and I really wish I had no desire to perform or I had mommy issues because I would. Did you just put on a robe, dude?
Yes, I did.
Rocking it. Baby.
I like to be comfortable, man.
Hell yeah, dude. Put that thing in there.
Mhm.
But let me see. I just don't want my shit in there. I got all my back stuff. So I basically just treated myself as a product. And I was like, this is the way that you sell. And I sold myself. So I made myself like a product. And that's how I got in the doors, but like you find out that everyone in Hollywood, like, I got chances by a lot of good people, like people that actually gave me some chances end up really doing successful, like running a lot of things at MTV and stuff. So I was lucky, but I guess what I'm saying is it's like you get in Hollywood and then you really get in and then you realize that no one really knows too much. Everyone's just trying to figure it out too. And at the end of the day, the only thing that works is conviction, like what you believe in. And so I always say this is my saying is, the problem with Hollywood is you have people that are risk takers like myself, like had nothing and had nothing, no fallback plan. And all I did was we put our dreams in the hands of the risk averse.
Yes.
And that's what's really terrible.
Wow.
Yeah, right? Like that's why it's so fucked up. It's like some executives worried about keeping his $200,000 a year job. I call it the $200,000 a year problem. And they think that's really good money in the real world. And then God bless you. But in Hollywood, you can make 0 or you can make a lot more. And then they got their kids and their school. So they always they don't get up to win. They get up not to lose.
Yeah.
That
is a different approach. So do you think Hollywood, I mean, it seemed like we all enjoyed that you were screwing with things. Did Hollywood enjoy that you were having a laugh at their expense? And was that part of the charm that made people go, we ought to take a chance on this kid?
I think so. Like, I was able to get out of doing Marty Power and lying and saying I was my own agent and different things like that. I think that that was like a prankster in me. So I definitely started getting roles, like Romeo and Juliet and Scream and different things like that. But then when I got my own show, The Experiment, that was really the nature of who I am, and like fucking with people and pranking people. And I did it only because that's the only way you can get by. Like no one wants you and you want to be in Hollywood. No one really cares for you. So you have to like manipulate your way in. You have to game the system, if you will. And that's what I was doing. And I think people did like that when they heard about it and they were like, oh, this is interesting. And then that's what my show was. But again, at the end of the day, like I just turned 50 and I'm like, I'm not going to take part in that. I just want to work with people that want to work with me and I want to enjoy myself, and it's not brain science. And who the hell knows where our world's going to be in 3 months? I mean, let alone, movies and TV. And it's like the news is so much more interesting, or reality stuff. Do people want to even escape anymore? It's just the craziest time.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the 3 months rule. I mean, it's
There
been
are
4
no
months.
sports. There
There
are
are no
no
sports.
sports.
Yeah.
So people are
Yeah.
sitting there having to deal with themselves. They have to
Yeah.
look at what they like about themselves or hate. I mean, there are no sports. Just that alone. I mean, if you drive around LA right now, half the businesses are closed up, and it's insane. There's like either half the businesses are closed up, the other half are doing takeout, the other half are boarded up with Postmates. The line of homelessness is insane, and the line of nice cars is insane. It's literally like the Hunger Games out there.
It really is. And right now, it's not that bad. I mean, overall, if this continues
today, the market just took such a shit today. I literally called before you guys. I was like, oh Christ! I was just crawling back, and now I'm like, oh fuck! And it's true, and it's like, what's real? What is it? It's like. It's going to be interesting, because where are we going to end up? And I think at the end of the day, it's a big reset. The one thing I've learned about this whole pandemic is I don't need that much to survive.
Man, I'm telling you, that's such a great thing to say, because you're right. Like, what do I need? It's sort of like the jerk when he's walking out of his life. You quickly can grab a bunch of shit you don't need, like this chair and all that kind of stuff. But when you reset, you get, here's what I need. I need people that want to work with me. There's moments of brilliance in there that will stick with you. I mean, you've reached a point where you've got all these things you've done in the past. I didn't have to even do prep for this because I'm so familiar with a lot of your work, but like that goofy song, Circle, Circle, that is stuck in my head to this day. I mean, it worked. You did it. That song's never going to win a Grammy, but it did win a significant spot in my head, which is more valuable than a fucking Grammy,
We got the hook, man.
Oh, you got me hooked.
We got you the hook. Yeah, I mean, look, I just want to. That's what my thing was. It's like I think sometimes it's why you know me if you do know me, and that's why some people can. That's why I kind of the specials name the way it is. That's why people can kind of discard me if you do discard me, because it's like I just take chances. Art is like art, right? That's what it is. It's like everything is just a try, right? I mean, if you talk to George Lucas, he didn't know Star Wars was going to work. And that was outside of the box. I talked to him about that. He has no idea. Okay, he didn't know. If you talk to anybody who's successful, a lot of them, the movies, they have no idea. So it's like you just try something that you believe in, and you hope it sticks. And sometimes it works. And even though Circle Circle Dot Dot wasn't certified platinum, it has a huge cult following, and it's in your head. And then like something like. Another movie I might try it bombed, but it's kind of still in people's heads because it bombed and they hated it so much. So, I mean, I still kind of made an impact.
Yeah. When they come to you with offers like to do Tremors 6 or Beethoven 9, there's been 8 Beethoven movies.
Has there?
It really has. I looked this up the other day. So someone's making money doing these things.
I didn't know dogs lived long enough to have 8 movies.
That's true too. But,
wait, what's your question?
Well, the question is when someone comes to you like with something like that, are you an artist or are you a businessman?
I'm auditioning for a new episode of Duck Dynasty.
Oh, nice.
So, no, this is my beard. I'm not shaving. It's like hockey. I'm not shaving till we win the season.
You're going to get the COVID cup?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, it's weird. Yeah. When you get to a point like, it used to be like super, 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 super selective. And there's still a few people that have like impeccable resumes, but they're very few and far between. And there's other people that have a mix of everything and are still very successful. And I think it could be, I'm more the second one, where if I would wait for every movie that would be perfect, I'd be waiting and waiting. And I wish I kind of did do that sometimes, but I don't have that an ability. I don't really smoke a lot of weed, so I'm not calm. I'm always like that. And I think people can do that, but you want to work. And so when you're not doing anything for a while, and then you get a lead in a franchise like Tremors, and they offer it to you, and you're like, wow, and I'm going to be Burt Gummer's son. And I'm like, this is a part of a legacy that is awesome. And I don't care if it comes out or if it goes to streaming. It's great. And Universal is totally behind it. It's awesome. And I did 2 of them. And then like Dolph Lundgren, I was talking to him, and he did a Kindergarten Cop sequel that you probably never heard of, but he was also an Aquaman, and he's in the new Expendables. So Dolph does them too. And it's like, he's got hot movies, so you can mix it up now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the bottom line is, at some point, if you've been around long enough, they're like, when you die, they say he was in over 50 films, and no one gives a fuck if it was Beethoven 29 or not. Like that. It's just like, wow, that guy was an actor his whole life.
Jamie's been in 37,500 movies.
Yeah. I've been looking at 250 films. Now it's like, it's crazy. You know what? The one thing that keeps coming in on this pandemic is residuals. It's funny. All the little residuals. I think people are consuming more than ever. It's so crazy. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. At some point, we're all vying. I've done like 25 of these interviews this week, and everybody has their own audience, and it's a new world. Yeah. So I don't mind it.
Wow.
Yeah. You just don't want to be behind the line for the guy at the bank with the residual checks. This one's for 18 cents. This one's for $122.
Hey, I just want to also point out, Dolph Lundgren, also Stoopid Smart. Yeah, that guy's got like a PhD in microbiology or something.
He's super smart.
Yeah, he's super smart, but people think he's like Ivan Drago. Super smart and like a killer, like karate guy, and a sweet man.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Hey, how about your? I'd say Pete and I, whenever we prep for stuff, we just get off into a rabbit hole, and the rabbit hole we got.
I love rabbit holes.
With you is that you are sort of. And it's funny because I didn't look up your birthdays. It's funny to know that we're really all close in age, but you're sort of the voice of the generation of us that is just like, fuck, man. I think the ultra cynical, the fact that we didn't have, whatever statistic it is about our ability to continue on with being the generation that did not do like by default, as well as their parents, all that shit. I almost feel like we have an attitude that's fresh that way, and that you speak for it. Does that make any sense?
That was a roundabout question.
It really wasn't even a question. It was just a statement to say there. What do you say about that, Jamie?
You mean? I think we're Gen X.
Yeah,
we are.
I think. I look at like Janine Garofalo, like the face of Gen X, because she was huge, and they used to, and she's a little bit older than me, I think. But I always felt like she was she was like the person that really what Gen X was, and I think I'm in that too. And I guess what you're saying is, it's Kurt Cobain's another one of the faces. It's kind of like, yo, we were left with this shit, and instead of like, be grateful. Like, this is the shit you left us. It's like everybody left us Kraft macaroni and cheese, some hot dogs, and some bullshit chives. Yeah. And it's like on Cheetos. And it's like, oh, we're supposed to make dinner with this? Okay. And somehow, you ever see a jail, you ever hear it called jail chi-chi? Jail chi-chi is when you my buddy did 2 years, and it's ramen. And it's different little things, and you put it in, and they make a soup, and you can make this soup, and it's really they made it really good in jail.
Yeah,
and it's like you can make this. And so we're the jail chi-chi generation, where we were left with all the shit.
That's perfect.
And we're not scared. We're not scared to say, well, you fucked up, but we do it and we figure it out. But yeah, I think we're disillusioned. I guess is that the word? We're like, but we do stuff about it. We're like, fuck you. All right, we'll figure it out. But
we'll figure something out.
Where my mom's generation, and God rest his soul, was like, yes, sister. God bless you, sister. And like, would take a paddle on the knuckles. And so I think that what's weird about all this is, I totally agree with you, is the new generation. I think they're Zoomers. Zoomers are the one after millennials. The Zoomers are under millennials, and millennials are so butthurt about everything. And it's like, yo, why are you butthurt? Look what we did with razor blades and an apple. You know, we made it a snack.
Right.
So that's why there's a huge disconnect.
Hey, man, I appreciate you taking that to the goal line, because I didn't know what to do with the ball, and I fumbled it and bobbled it and booted it to the side and hoped it would just go out of bounds. And you scooped it up and ran it in. Way to take that.
I did.
That's what he does. Because there are
Pete Carrolled it from the 2-yard line.
Nice. Well, he threw a pass. He didn't give it to beast mode.
Yo, but if he did it, you guys would love him. He's a genius.
Yes.
But Pete Carroll, that's a great example of everything. Like, I don't know if you ever met Pete, but like, I used to do the USC things a couple of times. The what is it called when you pep rally? USC UCLA, which was no pep rally because literally, you know, you start with the joke is what do you call a football player in Westwood? Lost, you know, that type of thing. and they were so we like I did the pep rally for like 2 years in a row, and Pete would come down and he's like, hey man, we're gonna have a great time, great pep rally. And he's literally like, good stuff. I love that opening joke. You know, like he's the sweetest guy, and he really just loves football. And it's like I got to go to some USC games, and I just think about when all the people would say that about him. I was like, here's a guy that just tried, you know, example. He's a great example. He tried, it didn't work, it was unorthodox, but he still got you championships.
Yeah. He still changed a lot of people's lives too.
We had Jim Mora Jr. on the show, you know, and he tried at UCLA. All those guys are incredible. Like the whole thing that Pete Carroll would do, walking around Inglewood and just like, you know, looking for kids that want a chance, like, and just betting on kids. Man, I love that about that guy. And ultimately, I don't give a fuck what they do as a program. Let's be honest. Big football is saturated with money anyhow, and the NCAA is stacked with money. So if they're saving kids, if they're doing the Jerry Tarkanian thing, going, hey, man, you've been shot a couple times in a game. How about you play some basketball for me? I love that. I'm all about guys who love that part of the game.
Pete, I just imagine Pete Carroll walking through, like, you know, walking down the neighborhood in South Central, and then a kid just, you know, grabbed something and took off running past him at blinding speed. And Pete Carroll watching an 8-year-old just, and like, find that kid. We gotta find that kid. Yeah. Kid, you got a future ahead of you. The opposite of that is sitting with us today, Jamie Kennedy. He's a guy who did run through Hollywood, stole everything he could, and now here he is with a new special out, and you guys should check it out. It's called Stoopid Smart.
Stoopid Smart.
Yeah.
Stoopid Smart.
And it's on Tubi TV, so go check it out. So you are looking forward to getting back on the road, I imagine, and getting back to work, and it seems like kind of okay. It seems like
there's 2 clubs that are like talking to me now, but I don't know if I'm rushing to go down there, bro.
Yeah.
It's in Florida, so Florida's open, but go ahead, finish your question.
Well, I was you mentioned that
thought.
It seems like, right, because it might be a question, might just be amusing. Seems like you mentioned that people might be touring drive-ins. You know, things are going to change. Cobb's is going to seat about 55 people, and we're all going to be we're all going to be apart. So
see, that's a club you could do because that's spacious as hell.
Yeah.
It's in the yay. So literally I'll be up there in 36 minutes. And it is already big. So you could put people back 4 rows. You could have, that's a club that's set up to win in this environment, but it is less. I would like to do more shows just to try to get my money right, but you know what I mean? But they're only like 30 or 40% capacity I hear clubs are doing now.
Wow.
What about clubs in the city in San Francisco? Do you ever play that at all?
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. Clubs
are that all
the time.
Gotcha.
And that's but it's spread out. They also have that balcony.
Right. You got that balcony. Yeah.
So it could, but something like Punchline, which is an amazing club. One of the reasons it works so well too is another great club is because it's so packed. So that would be different. I mean, look, it'll be an interesting time. Do I want to do it? Yeah, I'm rusty. Like I got a Zoom show today where I'm doing a whole like 25 minutes, but who knows how it's going to be. I've done them before, but also how's it going to be with people? You know, I don't know.
Yeah. How does that work? Like, I mean, you can't really feel the audience very well, at least not like you do in a live environment.
Well, people talk a lot, so they're like don't think they're on a mic because a lot of people are just on barbiturates or Ambien. I have no idea, and they're half asleep, and they're like, "Hey, Gail, Postmates is here," in the middle of your joke, or
Right.
"Come on, honey, grab that wine," and they'll talk like literally. It's like imagine playing a club with every audience member mic'd up and every audience member's mic feed in your ear. That's what it is on
Jesus.
Zoom shows.
Yeah.
And everyone's wearing a robe. Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't mean to bring up bullshit. Yeah. Hey, I think it was Brant Tobler. He used to make a killing in his backyard.
Who's that? I know that name.
He's a comedian from Las Vegas, and he had this place in Las Vegas that had an enormous backyard. And so he said, "Fuck it, I'll put a comedy club right back here. I'm going to rent some chairs and line them up."
He did that?
Yeah, and man, crushed. And I think it was when he was doing it, he was just sort of still an open micer, like a seasoned open micer. So he had to get a legit headliner, and he pulled in, maybe it was Doug Stanhope.
Wow.
And so Doug Stanhope would bring 400 people into Brent Tobler's enormous backyard, and they would get all the money. So Brent,
I'm in.
And Stanhope, if you guys hear this, you can verify, or if somebody out there is hearing this and it's not them.
Is the backyard club still open?
No, he's moved to LA since then, but it's an idea.
Look, I don't know. I think it's all going to change. I mean, especially if there's a second wave.
Yeah. That second wave
and it seems like it's coming.
Well, I mean, people are out there fucking protesting and shit, which is good.
Yeah, but they're crawling all over each other.
But they're literally next to each other.
Yeah. Pete, how big is that backyard, man?
My backyard's big enough for sure.
How many people do you think we could fit back there? 50. I mean, right on the basketball court, you could get at least 24 people on that basketball court. Yeah. All socially distanced. We get big round tables.
Yeah.
I think it's doable.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get a hot air balloon above for like special seating. People can hang out. Hot air balloon. That can maybe be like a special one. Yeah, there you go.
Do your jokes from a hot air balloon.
Exactly. Yes, that's right. I'll put you in the hot air balloon.
Hanging from a bungee, off of the hot air balloon by 1 foot, like Pink.
There you go. Well, I remember that performance a couple years ago. All right.
I think we're on to something.
Let me get us back on track because I want to ask you. So I know you got stuff for a whole nother special, that kind of thing, because they cut down the stuff that you got and everything. That's all good. But I know that you're not afraid as an artist to push boundaries and barriers, whether it's starting a rap career or whatever it is. What do you I like your stage work that's going on right now. What do you have in your mind that you're like, you know what, this is something I want, and maybe you don't even get to it, but what's your brain cooking on idea wise? Because you got to have some good stuff.
I have a horror movie that I think could be a franchise. Everyone in Hollywood's been passing on it for the last 10, 11 years. They don't get it, but that's why I know it'll work because it's so outside the box. I don't know.
And horror movies always make money. I mean, 2 stars is a 5-star movie.
Yeah, I know. It's like, but so there's that. People talk to me about The Experiment again. So
right.
I would have to see how real that could be because I really did enjoy doing that.
I think a 50-year-old Jamie Kennedy experiment would be awesome.
Yeah, like more of a take on going after everybody. You know what I mean? I'd have to be like, do jokes about all sides, not pick a side.
Yeah.
I think it's needed more than ever. I think it'll piss people off more than ever, but it'd be funny too more than ever. And then I don't know. I have some stuff I'm trying to produce. I have more stuff. It's just a matter of honestly, in the last year, but this happened and the other stuff has happened. It's just I've been doing other things too. I've been working constantly, but I have this little investment in a weed company. I'm trying to make that grow. I'm trying to do a lot of things. I like a lot of stuff. Since I'm 50, and the pandemic has made me feel, and I think a lot of people, that just do what you want, do what you love, don't waste your time.
Words to the wise.
Yeah.
Shit.
Now listen, the council will start soon. Now please tell us.
Yeah.
All right, look. Go ahead.
You were saying, John.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask. So
John, you have another thought.
I have another thought.
non-question.
I got a million of them. So here's a non-question for you. When your audience is engaged in you and they're further apart, do you think that this is a question? I'm going to phrase it as a question because I feel like I'm on Jeopardy. Do you feel like that changes the audience dynamic in a comedy club if we're not all smushed together? Do you think the laughs are less robust? Do you think that changes with us being 6 feet apart? Yeah,
big time. It's literally, it's like if you believe in energy. Have you ever heard of cell jumping?
No. Tell us about cell jumping. It sounds interesting.
So cell jumping is where where you can say, "Hey, bro, you're harsh in my mellow," or "I don't like your energy," and it sounds all hippie. It's actual science. So you ever see like couples start looking like each other after a while, or start acting like each other? So that's a product of cell jumping. So it's basically we're all made up of these cells, and they literally go off of you and onto a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to be all hippie or everything, but it's actual science. You can look it up. So with a comedy club, somebody will laugh, and then that laughter will literally jump to that next person. I mean, that person will have its own experience, but 100%. So I'm not saying if a person's here and a person's over there, they won't laugh as much, but when they say, "Yo, that's a hot crowd," or "Man, this crowd is jammed in there," you rarely ever hear a crowd. I mean, it does happen where they're jammed and they suck. It does happen, but they're ripe. They're ready for it. They want to get fucked. That's what comedians say. So it's like that tightness of like the subway. It's why subways get so tense. And so yes, 100%. The pushy. It's like a sports game. That guy, that team affects you. It's all cell jumping, if that makes sense.
That's not an answer I expected, but that's perfect.
See, that's because you thought it was going to be stupid, but it was smart. See, and we tie it back to the free app, Tubi. But think about it though. If you ever play a crowd like 10 people and they're spread out and they're like, they're not as committed. But when people are next to each other, there's some commit to do it.
That's how I imagine the SNL audition. Like you walk into a full theater, there's Lauren and like 6 other people. They're all sitting like 3 chairs apart from each other, and they just nod when you say something funny, or they look at each other and go,
"If that."
Yeah.
If that. I auditioned for SNL, but I didn't do that. I was at the club, and Lauren saw me at a club, and I did pretty well. But at least I had a live crowd. I didn't get it, obviously, but it was still like at least I got the club. Like that. I heard that Studio 8 is hard to do.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it's notorious for that. In terms of the special, Stoopid Smart, you do impressions a little bit, like you're sort of I guess you call it the black lady impression. You do a bunch of other things. When you're assembling all that stuff, is
I like
any
the
of this
girlfriend impression?
Yeah, and your girlfriend impression sounds like Marge. That's hilarious. Do you put that together in some kind of a formula? Are you worried at all about how everybody's so offendable now? You're a comedian. Your job is to push us, but how do you account for that so that you don't torpedo your own career because you said something that's not acceptable 2 years from now?
That's a great question. A 2 years from now thing. Well, that's one of the reasons you shoot behind the bowling alley, right? I mean, you live there, so I mean, you could do a lot of jokes in Orange County. Pretty much everything's off the table. So that's one reason I did it there. I love the club. I love the feeling of that club in terms of the cell jumping. They're so tight together, and they want to have a good time. If comedy is PC right now, Orange County is rallying against it. So that's why I do love shooting down there.
Right on Orange County.
Yeah, but like it's funny because if you go to up north, sometimes you would think, oh, it'd be like PC in the Bay Area, but joke works anywhere, and they'll love it too. So it is. But so going back to what you said is, you can't really navigate it. I mean, you just kind of have to jump in and you have to do it, and you gotta just go for what you believe in, and if it's good, then it will work, and your fans will like it. And if you don't, you don't. But I mean, the one thing I would say about all this pandemic and all this other stuff, it's like could cancel culture, right? I mean, because
We're
there's so
hoping.
many bigger. Well, there's so many bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
But it's like everyone's. I was thinking about today. There's this thing of like, what's everyone's line, you know? And I guess that's where we're at right now. Is what is everyone's line? What you may consider a joke, someone else may consider offensive, right? And that's okay. But I guess if you come to a comedy club, I'd like to put a disclaimer on the door that you're going to come in here. You may hear the worst shit that you never thought you could even imagine. That's where you have to go into this mindset. And if you can't accept that, then don't walk in. And that's what clubs really should do now, because it's okay not to like a comic or be mad at him or just say he stinks or she stinks. But to actually get mad in the last year and a half and come up to me, which has happened multiple times, and tell me why I shouldn't joke about this topic, I shouldn't joke about that topic, I shouldn't joke about. I had a woman, I'm not going to put her out because in case she sees this, I had a woman talk to me about a very dark topic, which I joke about. And she was very, very upset with me. And I don't even tell you what it is, but it was a topic, but that's my job. My job
That's your job.
My job is to take poison and try to put some stuff in it so somehow it's edible to you. So you'll understand what that poison does, and then maybe you won't try the poison. That's my fucking job. And she was telling me why I shouldn't say this stuff. And I said, well, you're in the house of say. So you're coming into church and saying, take on all the crucifixes. And she didn't want to hear it. And I listened to her. No comics should do that. So I was like, okay, I don't agree with you, but I'll let her say it. I think if you let people talk, they feel better at least.
Yeah. People ought to know, though, that when they walk in there, that place is sacred in that way.
Bro, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? People ought to know. People, have you seen how people act in public? Have you been on a plane? Jesus Christ, people talk people FaceTime each other on a plane. You know how ludicrous it is? Like, I don't want to see your husband and, you know, your little 4-year-old and I know everything that's going on in your kitchen right now. Like, it's bizarre. People have no spatial awareness. So I disagree with you. They should know, but you give them way too much credit. People are still Cro-Magnon, man.
Yeah.
Well,
it literally is.
Call you out if you're being shitty.
No, it's just like common. Like, there's so much. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Just give me a nice hue. It's a nice angelic hue.
Yeah. You're angelic. If you had a cape with your robe, that would be really sweet. Like Superman must wear a cape and a robe at the same time.
I think it's scepter. Right. With like a glass globe on top that would.
Hey, what is the theme of this show, by the way?
It's
I apologize for not knowing.
We just talked to fascinating people doing interesting things.
I love it, man. I'm sorry I didn't get more dressed up, and I'm enjoying
it.
So I apologize, but you're cool with it.
Yeah, it's fine. That's why I put the robe on. I don't want you to feel underdressed.
Yeah. I'm just mad I don't have a robe.
We get you one. You can get one.
You could have gone skins.
With a hood.
What kind of gentleman doesn't always have a robe handy?
Yeah, dude.
Now I'm getting called out for being shitty.
So for my birthday, this dude got me this. I know another dude, but a buddy of mine, he got me a robe and Just Chill slippers.
Yeah.
I think it's perfect at this time.
Yeah,
it is. That is a good point.
Encourage you to smoke more weed.
Folks from our generation, especially our little sweet spot, we've learned to just chill quite a bit, because when you are a latchkey kid, and you're like, I'm tired of blowing up Evel Knievel with fire and gasoline and everything, and I'm throwing the ball against the house 1,000 times. I think I'm just gonna go inside and watch Gilligan's Island and just chill the fuck out.
That's really, really, like, were you my neighbor? That's really
I must have
good.
been.
It's so true. That the fire with Evel Knievel is a little more, but yeah, I've seen that. But definitely the ball against the window, the wall, a lot of solo tennis, handball, Gilligan's Island all day, followed by the Brady Bunch. It's true, man. We are a latchkey kid. Even though I had a lot of brothers and sisters, I had a different set of parents than they did because I was an accident. And my mom never wanted to admit it, but I was raised by the TV. I loved it. That's why I became an actor, because of TV.
Yeah.
Like John Ritter made me want to get a place in Santa Monica and have 2 hot roommates.
Yes.
And I wanted to go to the Regal Beagle. and I wanted to be a chef. Literally,
Hang out with
my
Larry.
dream.
Get
I
pick
wanted
up
to
on
have
kids.
Larry, the swinger buddy, and be like, let's go down to the Beagle, see what we could do. It was a simpler time, man.
Yeah.
It was a simpler time. And now it's all twisted. You know what I'm saying? It's like, forget it. You know, the grotto, going to the grotto, it's all gone. It's all gone.
It's terrible.
No more
Jesus Christ. Jesus.
Hey,
Now
man,
it's just-
nobody can deal with it better than we can. We're equipped for that shit. We're built for it.
yeah. Well, it's just like everything is so, I don't know. Well, I mean, it's all changed now in the last 3 months, but it is just like, I don't know. It's weird. That's another topic we can go down.
Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it and make some good prison chooch or whatever that shit was called.
Yeah. You got to cook that shit,
chi-chi.
and you cook it in a plastic bag. It's like ramen and other shit you find. Yep.
He did time. He must have sold a couple of bags.
I know someone else that did that stuff. So
yeah. So you put it in a bag. You take ramen. You take Cheetos. You take stuff, anything you can find from old hot dogs, and they make a big trash can full of chi-chi. And it's like, if your chi-chi's the shit, that might actually get you an extra shower shoe. This is considered a shower shoe. My buddy told me all the rules about it. He was good. He was supposed to do 5 years. He only did 2. God bless him. And I call him a producer because he basically just put a guy that wanted to buy a lot of drugs next to another guy that wanted to sell a lot of drugs, and he put the deal together. But then they both told him, "Hey, that's the guy." So, but he was kind of producing.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody's a producer these days.
And with a different shirt on, that would have been a big deal. And he'd be living in Malibu.
So for everybody, just his special's called Stoopid Smart. It's on Tubi, Tubi. You can go and you can find it there, and there's other specials that are there as well. I'm not looking at the channel, but it's Tubi.com.
Tons of awesome comedians. All my other movies.
Yeah, tons of comedy. Yeah.
And the commercial is easy. It's like you start 30 seconds, and then you don't have another one for like way into it, and it's 30 seconds. It's literally like a minute, and it's way better than like a YouTube commercial.
Yeah. I watched your special there, and man, I love it. It's funny. You're doing everything. Like, it's exactly what I expect from you, and I just dig it, man. And actually, next time you're in town, whether it's Bray or wherever else, I'm going to come out and check you out and get a chance.
What's the name of that club, Jamie?
It's called the Rec Room.
The Rec Room.
Great.
There we go.
Yeah, it's a
put that
great
on the
club behind the bowling alley next to Laser Tag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll come check you out too. We'll make a night of it.
It's great. Yeah. I'll give you guys a comp each.
Oh, sweet.
And we'll make some. I'll give you 2 comps each. You can bring a friend, and we'll make some chi-chi.
We'll make some. I'll bring the chi-chi, and we'll meet you in the back, and we'll do it in the green room. We'll cook it in the green room shitter, because you're supposed to, put that thing in the toilet to that the pot.
It's so true. This is all, he did time. He did
I
time.
didn't. I just know the deal.
What did you do? Did you do some corporate fraud? What did you do?
No. I haven't done time
in public.
I haven't done time, but I have lived in a small wooden box for many years because I was a combat spy, and so we did a lot of similar things where you'd make your own food, and so I'm familiar with cooking in extremely limited circumstances.
Yeah.
Wait, where do you live? What part of OC?
Tustin, right in the middle of it.
Oh, hold on. So is that your real title? It says Pete, executive producer, John, and John doesn't have one.
He just didn't type his name in.
I'm just a Jedi.
John the Jedi.
Jedi.
JK the robe.
Jedi. I'm just jealous of the hood. But hey, man,
we'll get you one.
We're bumping up on time. If you want to hear more about Pete, you have to come back on the show next time he releases a special. I'm going to tell our audience we fucking love Jamie Kennedy, always have, and I'm glad you're going strong, man. Thank you for that special. It was hilarious. I'm going to watch it again because the shit was dope. And
thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks, guys. I'm sorry I got so underdressed. Next time maybe I'll put a tank top on. Could I put a tank top on? Hopefully my beard, I'll be braided by then. You guys are awesome, man. I love it. You roll with the punches. Keep doing it. Anytime you want to have me on, or if you have me on again, I'd love it. We can go deep down the rabbit hole on some crazy shit.
There we go. We'll do it. Thank you.
I'm gonna sign off here.
Keep making your chi-chis.